Hello, my name is Paul Richards and I'm with PTZOptics, and today we're talking about church streaming tips. Tips for churches to help improve their live streaming capabilities very easily and affordably. PTZOptics is a very affordable pan-tilt zoom camera manufacturer. These are just a couple of our cameras here. We've got a white model that's very popular, and then we have obviously a gray model with HD SDI, HDMI, IP streaming. I'm not going to go into all the specifics on the cameras, but today I wanted to respond to a lot of the questions we were receiving regarding live streaming from WFX 2015, which is the world's largest house of worship technology show. And by far, the number one request we were getting was, how can we get more volunteers? How can we get people more to participate and help us man the cameras and produce these great live streams for our viewers who might not be able to make it into the church service each week? Well, the first thing that we can offer there is a pan-tilt zoom camera. So that means that you could have 2 or 3 or an unlimited amount of cameras that can be manned by just a single person. So instead of having, camera operators all around the room and having to rely on these volunteers to do that, you can reduce the amount of volunteers you need by simply deploying pan-tilt zoom cameras. The second thing that you can do is use a live streaming software that has remote control capabilities. Now, that's what I'm going to show here right now. I have an iPad here that we have connected to my laptop, which is doing all my live streaming. And what I'm going to do is I have a preset here. I'm going to zoom right into it and demonstrate a little bit of how this could benefit a church, for example. So the way this works here is you've got your live output. That's my number one there. I've got my live output, and then these cameras are throwing off my focus a little bit. Let's move those over. And my live output is what you're seeing now. Now down here, these are all like overlays. So for example, like T3 there, that's my title. So if I close that, I actually turn it off. And T4 there, or I4, that is actually my clock. I like to keep a clock. It's 1:48 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here. And then I've got different things that I can use here to enhance my system. So how does this help? How does this make things easier? Well, you could actually have someone with very little knowledge in how to run a live stream with a checklist that says, okay, click this button, and this button, and everything can go. Not only that, but you could have this ability hosted outside your network. So that means you could have someone at home start the live stream and control the entire live stream without even having to come to church. So that makes it even easier to get volunteers to say, hey, can you spare an hour? I know you live a half hour away, but you don't even have to come in. We just need you to remotely control the live stream and make sure everything's set up. So that's one other way. I've got a couple things here I just want to show off. My 7 here, my i7, that is a picture of the cameras. So I can do different overlays and different things. So wanted to show that off. It's just a touch screen. It's just a regular iPad. It's on the same network as my computer, and it allows you to extend the reach of people that can help you during your live streams to pretty much anywhere in the world. So maybe you could hire a kid who's maybe not even from the area but is good at computers to log in remotely and run the show for you. So this could be anywhere in the world. Imagine that, controlling your live stream. Okay, so I'm going to turn off my that little camera thing there. And I got a couple other tips for live streaming for churches. Of course, the cameras themselves can also be controlled remotely. So on the back of each camera, let's zoom in here to my preset, you can see here that we actually have, let's focus, there we go, a network port over here. So you can plug that into your network, and the same way you can give someone control of the entire live stream, you can give them control of the pan-tilt zoom of the camera. So if you only have one camera and you need to capture multiple views of different spaces in a large or even a medium-sized church, you can have someone remotely control it with a joystick controller, which we have a really affordable joystick controller, or on the network, and therefore anywhere in the world. So that's another thing. And we have all kinds of different tutorials, and we can help you with this, because there is a little bit of configuration that needs to be done with your internet service provider's router. But it's very simple and very straightforward. We can help you do that. So how do we create an easier live stream experience? Well, we're live streaming right now to YouTube Live, and it's a really easy, straightforward way to do things. What I'm going to do is I'm going to briefly show a picture of what I'm doing here. So this is a picture of what I'm doing. I'm going to remove the clock and this bottom here. This is vMix. This is the back end of what I've been using to run this live stream and control with my iPad. And you can see here that on the bottom there's a whole bunch of, it's covered up by a little settings module which I wanted to show. That's how you get the IP address to the iPad. But as you can see on the left hand side, that's where your preview would be. On the right hand side is the show. And then on the bottom are all the inputs that I've been working with. So I want to just quickly show that off so you see kind of the back end of what we're doing here. You can have multiple cameras connected in different ways to run your live broadcast. So that is another tool. So now we have something else I wanted to share, which is brand new, which is when you're doing a lot of live streaming. And let's turn back on my clock, turn back on my lower third. When you're doing a lot of live streaming, there is a free tool that we have called speed.ptzoptics.com. And what that does is it gives you a spot check of your available bandwidth. And when you're doing live streaming, you need a decent amount of bandwidth available. I personally like to have anywhere from 10 to 5 megabits up and down, download speeds and upload speeds. And I like to stream in 720p. The stream is in 720p. I'm using my laptop, which is a fairly good laptop, but 1080p I've had trouble with. So there's a couple things there that we want to talk about. We have a live streaming optimization checklist. And it's a list that you can go through to say, okay, well, have we thought about this? Have we checked that? And we've got everything listed out there with this free tool that will allow you to check your bandwidth speeds and very easily determine how much bandwidth you have, what's the right resolution for me to be streaming at, and really help you just determine, just get rid of all the pitfalls that might come through and allow you to do a really nice live stream. So hopefully this has been informative. We're hoping that we can help in any way, not only to make things more affordable for churches and houses of worship to start live streaming, but also, some of the largest problems, hopefully help solve them. How can we help volunteers get more involved? How can we make it easier to run the cameras and the live streaming remotely? It's actually, all the technology's there. It's actually very affordable. And one last thing, we're giving away free Zoom video conferencing licenses with every camera. Oh, and I almost forgot. We have live test footage of the cameras in a church, which I'm going to use Zoom video conferencing to wirelessly present a little clip I have from one of our resellers, who is Tom Sinclair from Eastern Shore Broadcast out of Alabama, sent in a really great some test footage here. So I'm going to go ahead and share that. And as you can see, he has he's doing I think one of the most important things here when you're doing video conferencing, live streaming, is to have 2 cameras. So what he's doing here is he's actually showing pictures of different spaces that he's going to be zooming into. And he does what's called a fade or a cut. And so if you have 2 pan tilt zoom cameras, you can actually zoom into the space that you're planning to pan or cut to, and have the other one on your live stream. And then what you can do is switch between them with a beautiful fade or a cut or a zoom. So he's just showing the ability to use multiple cameras here in a church setting to live switch between different video outputs. And I'm just gonna, we don't have a lot of time here. I want to keep this as a somewhat short video, so I'm going to zoom in to the end here. Now, this is all live footage that's been recorded. It's available on Tom Sinclair's website, easternshorebroadcast.com. And he's just showing here a little bit of the live test footage. There we we go. And he's just showing off, you know, how the cameras can pan, tilt, and zoom in a church setting, which we thought was really important. And there's Tom there. Hi, Tom. We're thanking you for your live video here. Tom's a great reseller out of Alabama, and if you are from Alabama or that area, Tom is great to work with for your live streaming systems. But as you can see, he was just in a church setting, getting down and dirty with the cameras, showing off what they can do in a church setting here. So we wanted to show that off. And as you can see, he's also using vMix on his computer. So it's really easy. You can run an entire live stream from a computer these days. It's really incredible. So hopefully this has been informative. We're hoping that it's been a great live stream and you've learned a lot. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us. Thanks.